Gary motherfucking Oak. One of the biggest jerks in the entire Pokemon anime. He belittles Ash in every way possible, calling him a loser, or by simply calling him trash. Ash, as we all know, started with Pikachu, and Gary started with Squirtle. Here's something though. What if the roles were reversed, where Gary was late and Ash was early to receive his Squirtle? What if it was Gary who overslept and not Ash? How would that affect the entirety of the Pokemon anime? I think I formulated a pretty good what-if scenario for if that actually happened. So without any further ado, let's hop right into it. First off, let's take into consideration the real-life factors of how Pikachu has affected the franchise as a whole. Pikachu is plastered everywhere and is the main market icon for anything Pokemon related. It is also the Pokemon Ash chose on his journey, but if Gary chose Pikachu, wouldn't that mean that Gary would have to be the main protagonist of the Pokemon anime? I mean, to be honest, it could definitely work. Let's take some factors into consideration. Gary is Professor Oak's grandson, and Professor Oak is known all around the Pokemon world for his Pokemon research and knowledge. Who the heck is Ash in the Pokemon world? Just some average 10-year-old trainer who shows a lot more promise than Gary does. In this scenario anyways. Like I mentioned earlier, the roles are being reversed, meaning Gary is going to be the doofus trainer and Ash is going to be the prodigy. Before I get any further though, let's get into some backstory about Ash and Gary. Gary has a very interesting childhood, being surrounded by his grandfather in Pokemon research. He knows a lot about Pokemon, but he forgets it all because he's a natural klutz, kinda like me. He's very clumsy at everything and nearly fails at everything he does. With these results, he is displeased with himself and always feels sorry for himself. Oak always tells him though that he believes in him and that he can do anything he puts his mind to. Regardless of what Oak says though, Ash bullied Gary as a child and was actually jealous that he was Oak's grandson and thought he didn't deserve to be. Ash always knew more about Pokemon than Gary and always had the edge over him. So Gary is almost the exact way Ash is in our world, except I think Gary is a little worse because Gary always feels pressured because of his label as Oak's grandson. He feels inferior to Ash in every way possible because Ash excels better than Gary in almost everything he does. So Gary is the quote-unquote loser in Ash's eyes, regardless of the label he has. Mr. Ketchum also has a lot of experience as a trainer in this scenario because of who his father is. That's right, Ash's father is actually around in this scenario. There have been a lot of speculations on who Ash's father could be, and to be honest, I think it's Silver. Silver is a character introduced in the Pokemon Chronicles series where he is actually a very promising trainer. In this scenario, however, Silver failed the Johto League and winded up losing to Lance. Losing to Lance wiped away all of Silver's confidence of being a trainer, and because of that, he threw everything onto Ash, forcing him to become a trainer so he could one day be better than him. Silver was always super hard on Ash because he didn't want him to be a failure. Because of all this mistreatment between Ash and his father, that's what caused Ash to be a bully towards Gary and the others. It's pretty much he has a lot of insecurities about himself. Ash also secretly deep down hates his father and doesn't get much attention from Delia because Silver is always constantly yelling at her and practically runs the household. Now we know what these characters are like and we have a bit of backstory of what their childhoods are like. Let's get into the adventure aspect of this now. It's early morning in Pallet Town and it's announced that this is the first day for trainers to start their journeys. Gary is dreaming his life away, wondering what Pokemon he will get first, really wanting Squirtle. Ash is forced to wake up early and get to Professor Oak's lab first. He's the first one in line and winds up getting Squirtle as his starter and immediately leaves right after. Gary realizes how late he is and dashes down to Oak's lab even though he's like a 2-minute walk away. Oak, not being surprised, scolds his grandson but at the same time is also happy that he still wants to be a trainer, even after being put down by Ash the day before. Ash called him a failure and said he would amount to nothing. This actually motivated Gary and actually sparked the fire in the starting his own journey. With no Pokemon left though, Professor Oak offers Gary the last Pokemon he has available, and it's the Pikachu Gary had actually helped Oak capture. Gary, being very surprised at his grandfather's choice, rushes over to Pikachu with glee, and Pikachu the same exact way. Pikachu and Gary were always best friends due to them playing together all the time. Oak's main objective was to give Gary Pikachu anyways because of how close they already were with one another. So this is the exact opposite of what happens to Ash in the main series. As Gary states in episode 1, it pays to have a grandfather in the Pokemon business. So regardless of Gary being late, he truly did get the starter he wanted. With the journey playing out pretty normally in Kanto, Gary actually captures a lot of the Pokemon he had in his original journey. It's still Gary, his Pokemon taste is practically the same, except he only sticks to having 6 Pokemon like Ash did, having Raichu, Alakazam, Nidoking, Arcanine, Eevee, and Golem. He also winds up traveling with Misty and Brock and even seeing Ho-Oh like Ash did. Rather than get attacked by Spearow though, Gary just happened to see Ho-Oh while on his way to Viridian City. Ho-Oh, sensing the doubt in Gary's heart, gave him the courage to persevere and to start his journey off strong. Misty and Brock, both seeing these qualities, respected Gary enough to travel with him. Gary was on his gradual journey of the Kanto region, winning badges at his own rate, while Ash was off by himself due to his attitude and arrogant pride. Whenever Gary and Ash would battle though, Ash would still win and belittle him even more. Gary, however, wasn't affected by this due to his new mindset and always said, "Wait till next time, I will beat you, Ash." Ash shrugged it off like it was nothing and continued his journey. Unlike how Ash cut Pikachu as it is though, Gary actually wound up evolving as Pikachu. The battle was at Lieutenant Surge's gym with the same exact scenario as Ash had. Pikachu was getting penned into a pulp by Lieutenant Surge's Raichu. Due to being severely damaged Pikachu had taken, Gary called the match and wound up taking Pikachu to the Pokemon Center. Nurse Joy winds up coming into the recovery room while overhearing Gary, Misty, and Ash talking about Surge. Misty and Brock also bring up how Gary has grown so much as a trainer in this short time with knowing when to call a match. Nurse Joy comes in the room and offers Gary the Thunderstone to evolve Pikachu and tells him mistakes if he does decide to go through with it. Pikachu overhears this conversation and immediately puts his hand on the Thunderstone, resulting in it evolving. As it evolves, it has tears running down its face and says in Pokemon talk, "If you can evolve, I can too." Gary then winds up hugging Raichu and he says he didn't have to evolve. Raichu replies with Pokemon talk once again, "I want to be just like you." Raichu respects how much Gary has evolved as a trainer, giving it the inspiration to evolve itself. I think you guys have heard that Ash's Pikachu is very strong and is an unusual Pikachu compared to others. Well, those traits carried over to Raichu as well, nearly doubling its speed and power. It easily outclasses Surge's Raichu and wins in the match. Finally, it was time for the Indigo League. Ash and Gary both obtained their Kanto badges and it was time for the final showdown of the competition between Ash and Gary. Ash, pretty confident in his ability, starts out the battle with his most powerful Pokemon being his Charizard. Yes, Ash winds up getting all the Kanto starters, but in different ways. Charizard was gotten from Damien after Ash totally obliterated him in a battle. Charmander respected Ash's power, so joined him. Because of how Charmander was raised by Damien, the nature carried over to Ash. Bulbasaur was just captured and Melanie never saw it again. Sad days. Ash, being a totally different trainer this time around, actually winds up evolving all three of his Kanto starters to their final evolutions. These three Pokemon are always on Ash's team while he rotates all the other Pokemon he captured. Ash, being Gary's counterpart in this What If, has actually caught over 100 Pokemon, and 30 of those aren't Tauros. Anyways, back to the battle. Ash starts off with Charizard and Gary sends out Raichu. Due to how fast Raichu is on the ground, Charizard is overwhelmed by its speed and it's able to one-hit KO Charizard before it even gets in the air. Ash, being shocked at this, gets mad and results in all his Pokemon getting nearly knocked out by Raichu, aside from Venusaur, where Gary switched to his Alakazam to take it out. Yeah, Gary 6-0'd Ash. Karma sucks, huh, Ashy boy? Ash, being humiliated, runs off the stage and Gary tells him, "You always made fun of me and belittled me, but I grew as a trainer and used your lust for me as my way of seeing myself. So thank you, Ash. I appreciate what you did for me." Ash, shocked by this, starts to get teary-eyed and runs off. After this competition, Ash takes Gary's words to heart and winds up going to Johto to start a new journey where he discovers himself as a person and begins to love and care for his Pokemon even more. Gary, after the competition, returns to Pallet Town and follows in his grandfather's footsteps as a Pokemon professor, and as the years go by, he even winds up taking over Professor Oak's lab. In the end, Ash actually does wind up being a successful trainer due to Gary, and Ash has the same effect on Gary. Sad Tracy doesn't exist though in this What If. Well, that pretty much wraps up this What If Gary got Pikachu. As you can see, Ash's arrogance influenced Gary, and Gary's soft and good heart influenced Ash to change. I try to keep their personalities different, but I wanted Ash to be really different, and I think it made a huge impact on this scenario. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch, where I stream a lot of Pokemon content like shiny hunting, showdown battles, and even Pokemon Mission Engine and Explorers of Sky speedruns. I'm currently in partnership push for Twitch, so if you guys could come down and support, I would love that a lot. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Fly Jubilee and Daniel Leone did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for some more awesome Pokemon content.